Good afternoon, everybody. It's shortly after 6. We wanted to give it a few extra minutes to allow people who were logging in to get logged into the local union's Steward seminar. Again, I want to welcome everybody, and I want to thank you, all the stewards, for your participation in the Steward seminar. We've got great participation from around the state. That's fantastic. I hope today's Steward webinar finds you all healthy and all safe. I want to thank you for your service and your commitment to your union and to your community. Our strength during the COVID-19 crisis has come because of all of our successful hard work that we've done together. Membership drives and membership recommitments prior to and post Janus, participation in your local unions, communication programs, education programs like the annual Steward seminar and the regional Steward and membership trainings. Our participation in all those events together has provided us success in contract campaigns throughout the state of Minnesota, at the University of Minnesota, public defense in Hubbard County, in Becker County, and particularly in St. Louis County, where we had an incredibly successful strike and not one Teamster crossed the picket line. That's to list a few, as there are always many others. These are contract victories that have provided us our pay increases and improved terms and conditions of employment throughout the current crisis. It has provided us the stability that the members have desired, stability in wages and your future economic well-being, stability with your health insurance and health care, pension stability, as we received through all of our collective work during the legislative session a couple years ago to pass the omnibus pension bill, and most recently at the state capitol, passing a work comp bill that provides for COVID-19 to be a presumptive work injury. Today is about continuing the discussion of building our strength, building on our successes. How will we continue to win in the more challenging environment that we're facing today and we will see going forward? With me today, and all of you, I want to introduce your local union's president, Sammy Gabriel, behind me, Gus Frumke to my right, your local union's communications director and political coordinator. And you see on the screen a special friend of Teamsters Local 320, Sean Ellis, the Central Region Training Coordinator for the Training and Development Department at the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. Sean, on behalf of the local union and its executive board membership, we want to thank you and welcome you this afternoon. Sean has worked with our local. I think it's all the years that I've been here, and it's been great helping develop our stewards training programs. With that, I want to turn it over to your president, Sammy Gabriel, who wants to say a few words and welcome.
Thanks, Brian. Welcome to everybody tonight to our Steward webinar. I want to just let you know a few things about our state contracts. I know we have several of you on our call tonight that are state employees on the executive branch, and then we have several state employee groups that are under the judicial branch. So if you're under the executive branch, which is MUSAF, you all know that your contract has to go to the full legislature for a vote on the House and the Senate side to be fully ratified. This afternoon, there was a floor vote taken in the House, and your contract was ratified through the House only. It was a strict party line vote. All DFL voted for it. All GOP voted against it, against passage. What happens next is it goes to the Senate, and it has to pass in the Senate as well to be ratified. If it does not pass in the Senate, or they do not bring it to the floor for a vote, it is not ratified. And we go back to the negotiations table. That would be detrimental. We have bargained in good faith, and many of you have written letters of support and contacted your legislators, including Representative Kurt Gauss, to express your concern over ratification of these contracts. We need these to pass, and you as state employees deserve to have what was negotiated on your behalf for a wage increase beginning this July 1st. The other part that concerns everybody as a state employee, judicial branch included, is the insurance part. As you know, insurance is bargained by a whole group of state union leaders with the state a couple months before the contracts are negotiated, and those insurance changes would roll back if these contracts do not pass. Those insurance changes, as well as everything else in the contract, would roll back to what it was a year ago, last year, June 30th, 2019. There was lots of changes a year ago put in place for your insurance to be a better insurance. The state alone was saving $30 million, and we saved a little over $40 million as state employees going to this new insurance. That needs to stay as is. But we also know that the Senate or the governor or the House cannot go in and line item veto. The bottom line is they do not want you to have a wage increase in the second year, but if they don't pass these, we do go back to the table and everything's open. Everything's on the table. That has to happen to go to the Senate in the next 6 days. We're watching it very closely. Every day there are multiple meetings with union coalitions working with the state to try and get these contracts passed. It's a priority for your governor. It's a priority for DLCL leadership. We'll keep you informed day to day, hour to hour, what goes on. But please don't stop contacting your legislators. Contact your senators. It is vitally important that even not only our state employees are on this call, but everybody else, contact your senators tonight, tomorrow, the next few days, and urge them to pass these state contracts that were bargained in good faith. You cannot contact them too many times. They need to hear from you, and I'm hopeful that you will be reaching out. With that, I'll turn it back over to Brian.
Sammy, thank you. I want to thank you for the update on the state contract and your remarks. For those of you who do work for the state of Minnesota or Minnesota State University, the local union has been hosting a weekly meeting each Thursday, and we'll be doing it again this Thursday at 6 p.m. You can find the link on the local union's website to participate in the meeting, where we will be providing legislative update on the state contracts. For those of you who are participating on a cell phone, we will be putting up the documents on the page, some documents that you were sent out via email as well. You'll be able to find them on the screen, and of course if you're participating in a computer as well. Again, thank you for joining us, and the program purpose tonight is that the goal is to continue to improve on our skills in areas such as new member orientation, communications through the local union's website, accessing the website, the information that's found on the website, the local union's cell phone app as well. It's important to always build on our strength, our unity, and our singular voice so that we can continue to have success at the bargaining table. We can continue together to have a show of force at the legislature so we can take on the battles that we have in passing our state contract. Part of the information that we're going to pass on is we're going to provide you a summary of information that we received in a survey that was sent out to the local unions membership a handful of weeks ago. The data is back. Gus has prepared a summary. We're going to show that with you so that from tonight going forward, you'll understand why we pass on communication that we pass on. We will also be hosting future Steward webinars, as well as in October we'll be hosting our annual Stewards training, assuming that we'll all be able to get together in the near future again. One of the other reasons we want to do this is because what we learned when the local union conducted its focus groups a few years back, what we learned that what's important to the members is stability, to protect our benefits, to maintain our current and our future economic stability, and to ease the fears that members have sometimes in their day-to-day lives. And that's why it's important for us to have the conversations with our peers and to build the local union's membership. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sean Ellis to talk about We Are One as Teamsters.
Good evening, folks. City Stewards, thank you to Brian and Sammy and Gus for the invitation tonight. Really appreciate the confidence that you have in our department with helping put these trainings together. This is new for us. The webinars, we're used to the in-person trainings, so we are learning as well. So what we're going to touch base on tonight, though, is discussion on new member orientation. But before I get into that, I want to echo what Brian said earlier, what Sammy said earlier, in thanking the stewards out there for the work that you're doing out on the front lines, making sure that your members are safe with this COVID-19 that's out there, making sure that your members are going home safely each and every day. We're at an epicenter here in Detroit. I'm based in Detroit. That's where I'm at currently. But I got to tell you, watching Teamsters across the country, making sure that their members are safe. Minnesota is at the top of that list of making sure that their members are going home safe each night. And that's a huge testament to the local union leadership, and that's a huge testament to the stewards at each one of the work sites. So thank you for that work that you're doing. We're going to be touching base on new member orientation today. Me and Brian are going to kind of go back and forth on a couple of different topics here as it relates to orientation. You have in front of you, for those folks that are on the video side of this, or in your email, you'll receive a steward's quick guide on welcoming new members. But we're going to touch base on some of the bullet points that are on there. We're not going to hit on everything, but try to hit on as much as possible. Keeping in mind that we're only as strong as our numbers. As our numbers strengthen, as your local union has made sure through Janice that there has been huge outreach into the membership to make sure that we get everybody signed on. There's still a responsibility on the part of the stewards as new coworkers come in to touch base with those folks. Having said that, I want to touch base a little bit on your overall role as a steward. We talk about this at the in-person trainings. The fact that you're a leader at your work site, you're representing not only your work site, but you are also the members at your work site. But you're also representing Teamsters Local 320 at a statewide level. You are educating and communicating to members about not just the work site, but the fact that you're representing 12,000 members across the state of Minnesota, public sector workers. So it is a form of organizing. You are an organizer at your job site, and you do have a role of making sure that you build and talk union because it is a responsibility that we have in making sure that that message gets out, because there's no DVD, there's no horse coming in to save the day. It's one-on-one conversations with each one of the new coworkers that's going to make sure that those coworkers understand the benefits and strength and solidarity of Teamsters Local 320. All right. So let's get into what some of those benefits are. Brian will touch base on the benefits and how they were earned and how we keep them. Brian?
Thank you, Sean. You know, that one-on-one conversation is extremely important, because how the benefits that you do have as a Teamster, those are benefits that Teamsters fought for, that we enjoy, and for some of us, those benefits were fought for long before we got here. And so oftentimes, you know, new potential members coming into a workplace, they have benefits that they have no idea how they got there. Whether it's the benefit of their collective bargaining agreement, the benefits that are included in that collective bargaining agreement, that we'll get into those particular benefits a little bit later. But the fraternal benefits, whether they're scholarships for our high school seniors, and I'm going to have Gus quick pull up the and as you'll be able to see on your screen, there are a handful of benefits you can participate in your union, whether it's, for example, the Minnesota Teamsters Service Bureau, and this is about Teamsters helping Teamsters. The benefits that new members are going to have access to not only will affect the member themselves, but could impact their families as well. Whether they are college scholarships for high school seniors, retiree medical insurance benefits and programs. You saw the Teamster Service Bureau on your screen. That's Teamsters helping Teamsters. And that's there for members in their times of need. We've seen it now during the current COVID-19 crisis. Teamsters reaching out to the Service Bureau in record numbers for assistance with potentially job retraining, access to unemployment benefits, access to financial assistance, whether it's food cards, gas cards, and other personal benefits. As I mentioned, these are benefits that members past have fought for and that we're going to continue to fight to maintain and improve. They were able to have success at procuring these investments because they stood as one and they spoke with a united voice. There's a sense of community in the workplace, and the members are Teamster strong. They practice good communication. As I mentioned, speaking with a voice, reaching out and having those conversations. They provide a consistent message, whether it's the message that's coming from their local union to the shop stewards on down to the members. Wherever that message is going, that is a consistent message. Because stewards are educated, they're participating, they're fulfilling their obligation to their peers and to their union that they have volunteered to participate in. They've become familiar with their union, they communicate with their union, they participate in the annual stewards trainings, and now they're participating in steward webinars. They're getting involved, and they're getting involved as well in a new member orientation program, which is what we're talking about today. So how did we get these benefits again, and how do we maintain these benefits and improve these benefits? You and I and the members, we organize and we use our collective resources that are available to us through our local union. I'm going to turn it over to Sean and let Sean talk about how do we find the new members.
Thank you, Brian. And some of the discussion here that Brian and I have just completed really revolves around you as a steward. The stewards that are on this call, you, again, as Brian said, you participate. You're dedicated. That dedication is shown through you being on this call today. So again, you are a leader within this local. And oftentimes we're frank with stewards about making sure that you act like the leader that you are at the job site. And that is making sure that you're finding out who those new coworkers are. Either the list is provided by the employer, it's reaching out to the employer, or having some type of consistent program in which those names are coming to you either on a weekly or monthly basis. But finding out who those folks are. But you can also seek out those folks. We talked with today, people working from home a little bit more rather than working in the office. It's a little difficult to find the new folks down the hall. But there may be opportunities to find out who those folks are, seeking out who those people are, getting contact emails or phone numbers for those folks. Who can approach these new coworkers? We've conducted trainings with Local 320 before where it doesn't always have to be the steward. We can have other members who approach and have conversations and build upon the membership status of those new coworkers, keeping in mind that it may not be one conversation, it may not be two conversations, but it may be 3 or 4 conversations in which you're trying to find out from these new coworkers why they came to, how they came and why they came to your place of employment for a job. Oftentimes what you're going to find is that their answer is, well, I heard there's good pay, there's good benefits. That absolutely allows you to be able to open the door to the conversation about how we got there. Let me explain how we got to the benefits that we have today, the good benefits, the good pay, the fact that we're covered even under what we're going through today over the course of the last 8 weeks. We're still covered, and let me explain how we got there through a good quality Teamster contract negotiated by Local 320. But again, finding out folks who can help you approach these new coworkers as well. And then, making sure that, you figure out the best way to communicate with folks. Will that be a one-on-one? And what does that one-on-one look like? Today, 20 years ago, it was, the coffee shop across the street having a conversation with somebody or at the water cooler. Today, that might be a little bit different, and that's okay. The stewards on this call, the stewards on this conference, you may have some already implemented ideas on how you create these conversations. But again, it's critical because if we don't do it, who will? So we do need to make sure that we're reaching out, carrying on those conversations, finding out the reason why, finding out their story. Oftentimes, we want to get out 10 pounds of material into a 5-pound bag as quickly as we can. You got to allow it to kind of be a two-way street, gather some information in about who these folks are. But yes, absolutely, don't be afraid to have the conversation about why it's important to be a Local 320 member. And then just being consistent with it, putting together a packet of material, but making sure that you have a checklist of the conversation pieces that you want to have. And again, keeping in mind that you may not get to everybody, you may not get to everything on the first conversation, but you're going to try to get the importance of making sure why you should be a Local 320 member. Again, the contract. Brian's going to be going into aspects of the contract, the grievance procedure, the quality health care, the vacation and the sick days that can be use at the most needed times. It's making sure that those of you coworkers understand what those benefits are. And again, reminding them that as we go to the table to negotiate into the future, the employers will understand how what the membership numbers are at our particular job sites. So if membership is only at 60 to 70%, that's the type of that's going to be the type of proposal you're going to receive from the weak type of proposals that you're going to get from the employer. If you're at 85, 95, 98% membership, you're going to be much stronger. You're going to give your business agents and bargaining teams much more strength at the bargaining table, and that's going to be, so again, stewards on this call, understanding that importance, and make sure you're doing that outreach. I'm going to turn it back over to Brian to talk about the contract and the couple of different ways you can sign up your members, both on hard copy as well as online. Brian?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sean. So I'm going to talk about, two different contracts. I want to talk about the contract that is your collective bargaining agreement and some of the benefits that you'll find in your collective bargaining agreement that will give you great talking points when you are talking to your peers on the shop floor or now through email or text messaging. And then as you're, these are great talking points when you're talking to new employees and potential new members. First, the collective bargaining agreement. That has the value and the stability that the members are looking for. That has just cause for discipline, so that the employer cannot discipline you without cause. You are not at will. If you are disciplined or you do have rights or terms and conditions of employment that you believe have been violated under the collective bargaining agreement, all of your collective bargaining agreements have a grievance procedure that you can access, that you are represented throughout the process by your stewards and your union. Your collective bargaining agreement is a legally binding document. That is a document, again, that provides the terms and conditions of your employment and wages that cannot be changed by your employer at their whim. Those documents don't see change unless you've entered into the collective bargaining process with your employer and those changes have been negotiated. Your collective bargaining agreement, it sets a standard for you and your peers in the workplace. It creates a set of expectation and it provides the stability, like we talked about earlier, that the members appreciate, and that is the value that they see in their union. Provides them both with economic stability today and the retirement stability that they appreciate in the future. In addition to some of those items like wages, you also find various leave benefits in your collective bargaining agreement. That's where you're going to find your personal time off, your sick leave, your vacation benefits, or other leave benefits that you may need, God forbid, for medical reasons, taking care of sick parents, family members. But those types of leave benefits protect your job so that you have a job to go back to that you may not find in a non-union work environment. And we're seeing some of that now during the COVID-19 crisis, where members of Teamsters Local 320, they have vacation and sick leave benefits to protect them during this crisis. But then in addition to that, we've also negotiated additional leave benefits that aren't charged against your vacation and sick leave accruals, so that you do have time and you're being paid in the event you have to stay home for reasons related to the COVID-19 virus. Some things that we're going to see going forward, and we've seen it already with furloughs and layoffs in many, many workplaces throughout the state and throughout the country. You have seniority and layoff protections in your collective bargaining agreements as well. That tells the employer this is exactly how these scenarios are going to work. So again, your collective bargaining agreement provides you an expectation and with stability and consistency. And most importantly, with that, you have your collective voice. The second contract that I want to talk about is the maintenance of checkoff application. So once you've reached out to and you've had a conversation with a peer, a new hire, a future Teamster, you're going to present to them a maintenance of checkoff application. If you don't have maintenance of checkoff applications on hand, that's the membership contract. Please reach out to your business agent or the local, just contact the local union and let them know that you need copies of them. Those are the documents that you're going to be asking them to sign. You're going to ask them to sign both the top portion and the bottom portion of the document and date it as well. Make sure that you put your name in the Steward credit spot at the bottom of the application so that you receive the $50 new member credit for signing up that individual. Your local union is notified by your employers when there are new people coming aboard to the bargaining unit. Each time we are contacted with new hires, we put that information into a spreadsheet. That information is given to your local union's business agents by its office staff to pass on to the stewards so they know who to reach out to. That way we have the outreach to the potential new members. We've provided the information to you. You're able to reach out to those folks. You're able to talk to them about that application. And Gus, you could just pull up the application so the stewards know what that application looks like. We've shown you on the website where to find the local union benefits. Here you'll see a copy of the maintenance and checkoff application. And there we go. So it's very easy to fill that out online or the local union's app. Once you've had that conversation with the potential new member, whether they have signed that application or not, make certain that you circle back and have a second conversation with that individual. Make sure you listen. Let them ask questions, but talk to them. If they sign the application, welcome them aboard. If they have signed the application, we received the application, we will be delivering to you or the new member a Teamsters Local 320 membership card along with the new member packet that you'll be able to walk through. That should create the conversation. If they haven't signed the application, it's a conversation with that individual about what concerns do they have. Are there any questions that we haven't answered? But very important to go ahead and reach back and have that second conversation. I'm going to go ahead now that we've got the application up, the local union's app and website. I'm going to turn it over to your communications director, Gus Frunke, to talk about those two pieces, as well to review the results from the survey that was conducted with the membership.
Oh, well, I guess people are having trouble seeing the actual application online. I would just urge everyone to go to their computer or use their app if they have the app downloaded on their phone and take a look at the application online. But anyways, as you can probably make out, hopefully, I can on my phone. It has all the information that you need to log in or to fill out the form. The most important thing, of course, like Brian said, is to make sure you sign it and date it. And for those who are stewards or those who are working the unit, the bargaining unit, please make sure that you put your name down as a steward for the steward credit. Again, the best thing you can do is go to the website or go to the app and open it up and take a look at it so that you understand that there's two different sections and there's two different places for it to be seen. So the other thing I want to talk about real quickly while we have you at the website is the application. So the application that goes on your smartphone. The website and the application are seamless. They're actually the same thing, just built on different platforms. So all the information contained on the website is also contained on your application downloaded to your smartphone. And for folks who don't have the smartphone or who don't have the application on your smartphone, I'm just going to quickly go to the Apple Store and give you a quick look at where the application is on the Apple App Store if you have an iPhone. And then I'm going to go to the Google Play Store so you can take a look at the application at the Google Play Store. It's Teamsters 320. Everybody can download it to their smartphone. So the last thing before I turn it back over to Brian, I'm going to go over some data that we've collected in the survey that we went out to all our general membership back in March, Thursday, March 26, 2020. We'll go over the data. 276 folks took the survey. The survey was available online. We sent out emails. We sent out information. We sent out text. So this was a cross-section of our membership from all over the state of Minnesota. So one of the questions we asked was, how often would you like to receive communications from Local 320? As you can see, it's very sporadic. There's not really any defined correlation or defined set of data points that demonstrate to us how frequently we should communicate with the membership. But as you can see, I'd say the people from every day to a few times a month are a majority versus once a month to less than once a month. So I think people really appreciate the data we send out. They really, or the messages we send out, the communications. They really do appreciate hearing from us on a regular basis. I think that's something that we can certainly take away from this survey. Next, we ask an open-ended question. What items are you looking to receive when you get a communication from Teamsters Local 320? Because it was an open-ended question, we actually had to go through lots of different answers. We had to figure out how to condense that into something that we could provide and we could work with as officers and staff of the local union. So we broke it down into 4 categories: bargaining updates, legislative updates, legal updates, and benefit updates. These are the 4 categories that we were able to condense out of all the open-ended data that we collected from the survey. How do you prefer to receive communications from 320? Well, this was overwhelming. People want to get emails. and we will continue to use the email application to provide action alerts and other updates to the bargaining unit. The one important thing, though, that we really have to push is how we want to centralize our communication through the app. And the reason we want to do that is because we find that more people, the statistics tell us so, that more people have smartphones and are on their smartphones, whether they're using social media or they're using it for work or any other reason, that people are on their smartphones more and more and more. And we want to make sure that we're a part of that. We're a part of that process when people are on their smartphones, that they're able to access our information and also get our push notifications, which is very important. But again, we have the overwhelming data from the survey. People still want us to receive emails, and we will continue to do so. As you can see from the folks there was overwhelming 70% of the folks who participated in the survey have not downloaded the app. Again, we are trying very diligently to get everyone to download the app and try to centralize our communication through the app. Then we asked some more broad general questions. Are you familiar with Teamsters Drive, which is our political program? And about 68% said no, and about 34% said yes. You know, why we're trying to make these determinations is because it's important that we're involved in the political process. And, you know, like President Gabriel said earlier, it's very important because we have not only 1,000 union members, Teamster Local 3 members, who are directly affected by what happens at the legislature, and it is partisan, as she said. It is a partisan process, unfortunately. We've tried to make it as bipartisan as we could, but we have to be involved in politics, and we have to pick sides. And you know, it's very important that people understand why, and we're able to provide that information. We asked some other open-ended questions. What are your expectations for Teamster Local 320 representation? And there was just a broad spectrum of different expectations. You know, some of it got wrapped in the COVID situation that we have right now with coronavirus and the pandemic. But what it really boiled down to was something very simple. It was advocate for members and protect members on the job. It was, you know, and like I said, that's something that we could write on our union literature. But it was that simple. That's what people expect from their union in the representational realm. They want to be advocated for, and they want to be protected. So that was really what we determined from the data, and it really isn't that surprising. Are you regularly updated on Teamsters Local 320's legislative agenda? As you can see, you know, we have a majority who were, but we also have almost 40% who are not. And as the communications director and political coordinator, I want to make sure that people understand why we're involved in the legislative arena, why we are involved in making laws, why we're up at the Capitol, why we're lobbying county boards, why we're lobbying city council, school boards, why we're involved in that. I think it's incredibly important to understand that, you know, we're trying to protect jobs, especially during COVID. Things are very apparent. But, you know, we do those things even when there's not a pandemic or a crisis. We're trying to protect jobs, we're trying to build relationships, and we're trying to advance legislation that helps our members. Are you familiar with Teamsters Local 320 Lobby Day? I was glad that more folks were than weren't. Again, this is, you know, as stewards, this is one of the most important things we do. You know, it comes down to legislation, the Public Employee Labor Relations Act, which allows you to be a steward, which allows you to have collective bargaining rights in the state of Minnesota as public employees, is a state law. And, you know, we haven't had this discussion in a while because we've been lucky. We've been politically lucky having Governor Dayton and Governor Tim Walz. But if you talk to folks who are from Wisconsin or folks from Iowa who are in the public sector. They'll tell you that their laws, the laws that mirror the Public Employee Labor Relations Act, were taken away, by the legislature and by the governor. And this is why it's very important to build these relationships, even if it's just one day a year at lobby day. It's important to build those legislative relationships. So that's the survey that we took. That's the data that we were able to produce, and I think it was really worthwhile. And although nothing was too surprising, it was good to know where the members are at.
Thank you, Gus. Why don't we go ahead and open it up for questions and answers and comments or feedback that you have. You want to give it?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put it on Q&A. If you are on your phone, please push *6 and you'll be put in the queue. If you're online, you can put yourself in the queue. I'm going to start. All right, folks, if you're on the phone, push *6 on your keypad. If you're online, you can put yourself directly in queue. Brian, Sammy, and I are ready to answer questions, and I also made sure that if a question is for Sean, he's able to answer as well. Hello?
Hey, it's Kyle MacArthur, support staff. Just wondering if you've heard any rumblings on when we may be going back to work at our offices, or despite if the stay-at-home is taken away on Friday, are we still going to be working from home regardless?
Kyle, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually had a conversation with your employer about that today. You're going to continue to work remotely, at least through the shelter-in-place, shelter-at-home order, which expires on, I think it's May 18th. With that being said, once the shelter-at-home order expires, it's not going to be unlock the front doors and go like gangbusters. There's going to be things put in place that will provide for social distancing. Offices and cubicles are going to have to be set up differently as well. So that's what I know. It's going to be done cautiously, and they will be sharing that plan with me prior to implementation.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, could you talk a little bit about that House File 4638, I believe it is? And I'd like to welcome the ARC corrections to the group.
Okay, thanks, Brett. Are you, if there's any ARC folks on this call, please let us know so we can maybe give you a couple seconds to say a few words. As far as the House File for public employee furloughs, we don't see that going anywhere. It won't get a committee hearing in the House because of the DFL control of the House. They won't permit a hearing. It doesn't have a Senate sponsor, which is very positive for us, which means that it doesn't have any legs to get out of the House. And you know, the one thing that, you know, I would just say about that bill is it's an indicator of what's to come, or what certain politicians want to do. And I think it's a return to the Scott Walker, you know, let's blow up public employees, let's scapegoat public employees, let's harm public employee unions. I think it's a return to that kind of politics, and that's the one thing it told me. But as far as anything else, that is not a bill that we're concerned about at this time.
Thanks, Brett.
All right, folks. One more time, please. If you have a question, comment, or want to discuss something, please put yourself in queue or put *6 on your phone, please.
Okay, now that there aren't any further questions, I want to circle back. If you noticed any glitches in the presentation as far as the size of the maintenance and checkoff application as it appeared on your screen, or any technical issues with the webinar, we're going to continue to work through these issues to make it perfect for you. Brett mentioned ARC in a comment. ARC is Arrowhead Regional Corrections. I want to mention a couple of stewards. I want to mention Connie Westland from St. Louis County and Corey Garden from St. Louis County as well. Those are two stewards that are Teamster strong. They know how to have the one-on-one conversation. They spent considerable amounts of their own time and on lost time from work organizing the essential workers at Arrowhead Regional Corrections. 71 of them, I believe, to be exact. And I want to say congratulations to the Arrowhead Regional essential workers in your victory in joining the Teamsters Union. Welcome aboard, and I want to say congratulations to Connie and Corey, and thank you on behalf of myself, your local union's executive board, and all the members in helping build Teamsters Local 320 Teamster Strong. As everybody knows, right to work in the COVID crisis has brought us some of our biggest challenges. What's important is engaging our greatest resources, our Teamster Stewards and our Teamster members. It is to build that power that will bring us the ability to take on our next campaign, our next challenge, will help us protect our benefits and our wages, and to build on our benefits and wages, and to provide us the economic stability that we need for our families. Our power comes from an organized workforce. Our power comes when you use your greatest resources, your union. Our power comes from our good communication, and our power comes from education. We are always here for you. Let's stay safe, stay healthy, and stay Teamster strong.